Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay, also known as Shadowplay MUA. It's been a couple weeks since I've last made a video. I really apologize. August has been a very unpredictable month so far. A lot of changes going on, some good, some weird, and I think that is definitely showing up in my skin right now. I've got a lot of hormonal breakouts right through here. My skin just looks kind of dead, kind of pale, kind of casket ready. And I figured what better time to film my skin routine for you guys so you can see how I get my skin to not look like this on a daily basis. Alright, so first things first, I want to mention how I prep my skin before I put my foundation on. I'm going to start off with MAC Fix Plus. I feel like if you spend any time on YouTube, you probably already know about this already. But this is just going to wake my skin up, give it a little bit of glycerin on the skin so it has a little bit of slip. Makes everything easier to blend out. This guy has caffeine in it, so like I said, it's just going to give my skin a little bit of a wake-up call. And for primer, I actually am a little skeptical of most primers. Sometimes I feel like if your skincare routine is on par, you're taking care of your skin at night and in the morning, and you don't have any specific skincare issues like oiliness, extreme dryness, anything like that, then a primer isn't always necessary. I've tried so many, and there's been none that have really blown me away as far as blurring pores or anything like that. I feel like they all kind of do the same thing. So if you have any recommendations, definitely let me know, because I am a skeptic when it comes to primers, but I do love MAC's Natural Radiance primer because this guy actually has some skincare benefits to it. It has antioxidants, it has a little bit of an oil controlling aspect to it, but it also keeps your skin nice and hydrated and balanced where it needs to be. So I like this guy just on the fact that it actually is doing something good for my skin, as well as making the makeup kind of stick a little bit better. Normally I like to apply my skincare and primer a little bit before I get to my skin, so I'll usually apply all of that skin prep stuff and then work on my eyes and brows. But today, I'm in a little bit of a hurry, so I gotta, jump right into the foundation. So recently this summer, I've been getting really into cream contouring. I've just been kind of really obsessed with Scott Barnes' work, and he's the makeup artist for Jennifer Lopez most famously. I know he's done Beyonce, he's done a lot of celebrities who are really known for their flawless, glowy looking skin. So he got me really back into the cream contour game, and now I feel naked without doing it. And a quick disclaimer before I show you the cream contour kit that I use. I am in no way a supporter of this person, and you probably already know who it is. I literally got this palette at TJ Maxx for $19.99, and I would not have bought it if I did not find such a good deal on it. It's the Kat Von D Shade and Light Cream Contour Palette. I am not a supporter of her, but you can't pass up $19.99. My main problem with this guy is that she claimed that this would work for every skin tone, and I'm like, what a joke. Are you freaking kidding me? But luckily, I'm in the pale group of skin tones that this actually works for. I find it to be pretty easy to blend. It's not bulletproof, as she calls it. It does kind of disappear if you overblend it, but it is what it is. So I'm going to use a MAC 197 brush. This is just a little duo fiber brush. I like it because it's nice and precise for applying your contour. And what I like to do is kind of, instead of just applying a straight line, I like to flick upward a little bit. And that already starts creating that nice gradation that's going to help us to really blend this into our foundation. And yes, when it comes to cream contour, you do want to do this underneath your foundation, or else it tends to just look too obvious. When you do it underneath, it kind of gives it the illusion that the shadowing is really underneath your skin and not on top. And since I'm so pale right now, I like that this has a little bit of a bronzier tone to it. It's a little bit warmer. I feel like that helps to give me the illusion of actual sun-kissed skin and while still sculpting my cheekbones. And then I like to feel around for my temple area and get a little bit of shadow in there as well. And then working this all the way up into my hairline. And I have like a really square face shape. So when I'm contouring, I'm kind of keeping that in mind. Like I'm not gonna take the contour color all the way up in here, and I'm not really hitting the middle of my chin that much because I want to kind of soften the edges. I don't want to look like even more of a blackhead than I already am. So as far as nose contouring goes, for a long time I thought I had an uncontourable nose because I have my beautiful dorsal hump here. My little tip dips a little bit farther than I would like it to, and I was like, well, there's no way I can fix that with contouring. It's just a job for a plastic surgeon. But recently I've realized there are a few things I can do to kind of give my nose the illusion of being a little bit straighter. It's not magic, but I feel like in photos and in real life a little bit, it actually does help. So this is a MAC 268 brush. It's a nice little thin dual fiber angle brush. And what I like to do is follow where this inner corner of my eye goes, kind of the orbital bone dips down into my nose. I like to kind of follow that a little bit. And my dorsal hump area actually is a little bit thicker right here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just following that natural line all the way down, I'm kind of bringing it in a little bit farther just to slim this out. At least from straight on, it looks a little bit slimmer and straighter. This side's coming out way better than the other one did. And I'm also pulling this down a little bit to start blending it. Do you kind of see it happening? I do. And then for my little tip, I'll throw a little bit of the contour color right at the edge here. I feel like for this, it's really important to really be looking straight on for it, but also make sure you're looking at it from the side as well. So next I'm gonna go in with some of these highlight colors in the palettes. And this is a MAC 270 brush. It's my absolute favorite for concealer, cream contour, highlighting colors, all of that good stuff because it's just so dense. So I mixed a little bit of the yellow and then this peachy color right here. And I'm going to go over all of my areas where I have a little bit of redness. The yellow is going to kind of color correct that for us. And I do have that natural hereditary redness in my cheeks, and something that drives me crazy, but I have not yet found a skincare solution for it. A lot of things claim to reduce redness, but once again, I'm skeptic when it comes to products. So if any of you guys are also red tomatoes like I am, and you found something that helps, please give me your recommendations. So when it comes to the nose contour, I feel like this is really important as well. When you go in with that highlight color, you want to maintain that nice straight look. And I'm actually going to take these colors up into the side of my nose as well. And I'm not going all the way up into my under eyes yet. I don't want to cake on too much product there because by the time I go over it with my foundation and concealer, it might just start to melt away and look creasy and gross. And I definitely don't do all of this every single day. Sometimes I just kind of throw on my little cheekbone and forehead contour and roll, but you know, for YouTube, I gotta go the extra mile. And this is definitely not like the right way to do it. A lot of people think that this is like a requirement for your everyday makeup, and if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. And I'm here to say that is absolutely not the case. This is just kind of if I want my skin to look 100% flawless. Well, maybe not 100, maybe 98. And sometimes it's okay to be, you know, 75% flawless. It just totally depends on what you got going on that day, what your plans are. This is definitely not something you have to do every single day. Okay, so I think I've caked on enough cream contour. It's not very pretty right now, I know. It's about to be in just a minute. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna go in with my foundation. This is MAC Studio Fix Fluid. This is my all-time favorite foundation. Once again, not just saying that because I work at MAC. I really do feel like MAC knocks it out of the park with most of their skin products. It's been around for a while, it's pretty OG. I feel like they've nailed the color range and the formula really well, and it just has this beautiful silky but still somewhat matte look. So I'm using color NC13 right now. I know it's really embarrassing for me because I've had my beautiful bronze glow going on all summer, but every single night for the past week I've been forgetting to put myself tanner on, so I'm just a little pasty right now. Just want to embrace the paste for today. So I took a little bit out of here and dotted it right along this midsection between my contour and my highlight. And that just is going to help us to create that nice little mid-tone and finish off that nice gradient. I'm using a MAC 170 brush, my ultimate favorite. And I'm using more of a patting motion. I'm not really pulling the product around. I want it to naturally kind of melt into my skin. But for the contour area, I am gonna flick that up just a little bit to create that nice gradient. And you probably noticed the amount of product that I put. It was literally just those little dots right there. I'm gonna add a little bit more on the second pass, but when you're just working on blending out your contour, you only need a little bit of foundation. I noticed that the place that I struggle most with coverage is my little jawline area right here on my mouth. I have these really obvious veins right there. Like my skin is super veiny. You can even see them like on my chest. And they really like to show through. You can still even see a little bit of them there. So I kind of like to double up on my foundation right there just to make sure those are completely covered. All right, my little pimple buddy's starting to get covered up. So another thing I get a lot of questions about is the brush versus beauty blender debate. It rages on in the beauty community, and a lot of my customers and clients at work are very curious as to why one would be better than the other. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to personal preference. I've been an artist and illustrator my whole life, so I'm much more used to holding something like this than holding a little egg like this. So that definitely weighs into why I'm a brush person and not a blender person. But for me, it's also a sanitary issue. Beauty blenders are extremely hard to keep completely sanitized. Even at work, we're not even supposed to use them on customers. So that just goes to tell you, no matter how good you clean it, there's probably still some little bugs hanging out in there. And it's also an economic issue for me. One good brush, you know, this guy's $35, will last you 10 years if you take care of it, versus the little beauty blender where you gotta get a new one every couple months. It's 20 bucks, you know, if you get the beauty blender brand one. It's 20 bucks every couple months. It's kind of crazy to me. So for my little nose contour, I just dotted a little bit of foundation right on the tip, and I'm gonna carefully stipple this over top of my contour. My nose is also one of those areas that's really hard for me to get full coverage on. It just tends to make me work extra hard to get makeup on it. it likes to reject product that I put on it. It just wants to crease up and melt away and get cakey. So I have to be really gentle when I'm applying foundation and concealer to it, or else it's just gonna kind of break apart immediately. Same with the areas around my nose. I have a lot of redness there, and if I forget to really get up in there with the product, it's just like, hi, it's Rudolph, what's up? And if you're gonna do your little jawline contour, do not forget to go in and blend it, because I've definitely been that girl before who forgot I had contoured my jaw, and I walked out of the house with a little neck beard of product going on. So don't be that girl. Don't be like me. All right, next up is concealer. This is actually my favorite part. I don't know why, but it's just so satisfying to go in and eliminate all the remaining flaws that I have. And this is MAC Studio Fix Concealer, also known as Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. This formula is relatively new to the MAC family. It came out last September, so about a year ago, and I used to be a big MAC Pro Longwear user, and then this came out and I just kind of converted over. It does dry down pretty quick, so you have to work really fast when you're blending it out. But other than that, I feel like it gives you a nice little filter effect. And this is NC20. These guys do run extremely light, so if you're gonna buy it, I definitely recommend going into a MAC store or counter and getting matched, because your normal MAC shade is probably not going to work in this concealer for you. It's also really blendable, just like the Studio Fix foundation. So one layer of it doesn't always do the trick. I like to get an all over pass of it and then go back in my areas where I know I'm gonna need a more coverage and just do a little bit more. But I like that it's really buildable and it's not like Shape Tape where you do one little dot and it just covers your whole entire face. Like, just doing too much at that point. So my little pimply guys are still poking through. They're still making their presence known, but at least that redness is gone. You can control color pretty well, but you can't always get rid of texture. So after I got all of my cream products on, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself another spritz. I kind of like to do this when I'm working on a lot of layers and I'm really beating my face, because it melts all those layers in and it kind of gets it ready for the powder application. Next up, I am gonna go to the bakery. We're gonna bake my face a little bit. On my recent trip to Marshall's, I picked up these cool little Japonesque baking brushes. So it legitimately said on the package that it was for baking, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. Because I'm kind of sick of using my beauty blender for it. I just want to retire the beauty blender completely at this point. And I really like these guys. They're really dense and really precise. I really love the shape of this, as it's perfect for getting up under the eye. So I'm first doing a pass of MAC Studio Fix powder. Today is just a MAC Studio Fix day, as you can see, because I'm going to work. Now, Studio Fix is very matte powder, so that's going to help take away a little bit of the texture that I have in my little blemishes. A matte finish is always going to be your best bet when it comes to texture. And like I mentioned before, how my nose just does not like to hang on to products. This is where the matte powder is going to really come in handy, because it just kind of diffuses all the little pores and texture that I have there. And lastly, I'm going to go in with the RCMA No-color powder, aka the messiest stuff on the planet. And this is the smaller of the two Japonesque baking brushes. And I'm just gonna go in where my skin still feels a little bit wet. I cannot stand when my skin just feels tacky. So that's why I'm such a powder addict. Like, I just have to powder my skin until I don't feel that wetness anymore. And this really is the only powder that I found that completely takes that away. Once again, totally unnecessary for your daily life, but if you're extra like me, this is what you do. So at this point, we've almost completely eliminated all my pores and texture all through my cheek area. And that's exactly what I was aiming for. So I guess you couldn't really call this baking, because it's not like I picked up so much product that you can just see these lines of white under my eyes. I kind of just pressed it in there so it's not sitting on top. But I'm still going to take a duo fiber brush and just go over it and kind of dust off any excess that might be there that I just can't see. So next up is powder contour. So yet another MAC product, because I told you MAC is the king of skin in my opinion. This is the Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape Contour Palette, and this is a little unnamed Real Techniques brush that I've had for a very long time. No idea what I would call this, but I think I have seen it in Ulta recently, so it does still exist. I'm going to dip into this lightest color right here and start stippling that right over where I put my cream contour. And as you can see, a lot of that cream contour has kind of disappeared underneath the foundation, but you can definitely see the illusion of that shadow there. I definitely do notice a difference when I don't cream contour. Like, I definitely use less powder contour when I've done my cream contour underneath. The powder contour is just kind of to intensify it a little bit and bring back a little bit of color that we lost from that foundation. So sometimes with my powder contour, if I feel like some of that product went a little bit too low, I'll just grab a little bit of my Studio Fix powder and the little Japonesque brush, and I'll go right up underneath it and just carve it back out. But I feel like today I did a pretty good job of keeping it where it's supposed to be. Go me! Now I'm starting to dip into some of the darker shades here, just kind of picking it up on the very edge of my brush. And closer up to my hairline is where I'm going to keep those. I'm not going to bring those all the way down. And I'm just feeling around for the little hollows in my bone structure, and that's where those deeper colors are going to go. So as you can see, so far we've been using nothing but matte products. I like to grab some Global Glow by MAC. This is one of their skin finishes. And when I'm this pale, this almost looks like a bronzer on me. And what I find that this does is it just brings a little bit of a glow to the skin, but still looks natural, and it makes the skin almost have the illusion of a dewy finish to it without actually being wet. And this I'm kind of sweeping all over a little bit closer to the inside of my face as well. When I'm more tan, it doesn't show up quite as well. I usually switch to a darker, shimmery kind of product to make it have the same effect, but I'm the right skin tone right now for this one. Alright guys, we're almost in the home stretch. When I do my highlight, I like to start off with the Cream Color Base by MAC. It gives the powder highlight something to grip onto really nicely. A lot of people will use this by itself. But once again, I am extra, so I'm just using my finger to melt that into the skin. Oh, and by the way, this is the shade Pearl. And then for highlight today, I'm going to do the MAC HyperReal Glow palette. And this is the gold one. It makes me a little mad that they don't have the name of the palette on here, because it's only on the outside packaging. And girl, you think I'm going to remember the name of this palette? And this is a MAC 240 brush. This is my absolute favorite highlighting brush ever because it's so soft and precise, and it just blends so beautifully. And God, yes, look at that. By the way, I'm mixing these two lightest shades right here. And this palette comes in a lot of different tones. This is just the gold one. There's like a peachy one that looks beautiful on deeper skin tones. And then there's like a unicorn one that's really nice for pale girls like me. But today I was kind of feeling the warm tones because of this eye look. But see how nicely that just grabs right over where I put that cream color base? I've definitely played with it both ways, like doing the highlight with and without the cream base underneath, and the cream color base always just takes the cake for me. I feel naked without having it under there. And then after I do my highlight, I like to go back into some of my other brushes that I used without picking up any more product and just kind of make sure this edge here is blended out. Nothing's worse than having like a strip of highlight there. Just kind of makes you look like a robot. So I'm just buffing that in a little bit on the edge, making sure it's the most concentrated right at the very peak of my cheekbone. And yeah, that's basically the final result. As you can see, it looks really, really smooth. My pimples aren't the star of the show anymore. I have no eye bags. I look awake, alive, ready to take on life, you know. And my neighbor decided it would be a great time to weed whack his lawn, so I think that is my sign to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here. Hit the little bell notification button so you know when I post. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at shadowplay_MUA. And I promise I'm gonna try my hardest to get back into the routine of posting a video a week. I'm gonna try my best, no promises. Thanks a lot, you guys. I'll see you next time.